Hello, hello. Welcome to the new episode of Unstoppable Woman. And I'm so excited to have you here and have today's guest, Kimberly Bohets, who just joined.
Hi, hi.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm fine. You?
I'm doing amazing. I'm so excited having you here, an unstoppable woman, and sharing your story, which is so inspirational. And I'm just, thank you very much for accepting this.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'm so happy.
Yes, let me quickly introduce you a little bit and then we can start. So hi everyone, welcome to Unstoppable Woman today's episode and I'm so excited for today's conversation with Kimberly Bohets, if I pronounce your last name correctly.
Bohets, yeah.
Perfect. Kimberly started her career as a psychiatric nurse, but after going through burnout her own self, she realized that she needed to rebuild her life in a way that actually gave her energy back. And that journey led to food and simplifying the way she approaches it and eventually turning that into a business where she now helps other ambitious women and men do the same. So, in our conversations today, which I'm really excited about, she will share her story, how she turned from being a nurse into running her own business, and what it really took to follow her new path, and how something as simple as the way we handle food can completely change the way we feel, we lead, and we actually lead our life.
Mhm.
So, Kimberly, take us a little bit back. What was happening in your life before you became a coach? So, as I mentioned, you were a nurse, a psychiatric nurse, and turned into this new direction. So, I would love you to share with us what happened in your life at that time.
Yeah, so basically, in healthcare, I had this idealistic and maybe even altruistic idea about taking care of people. Like I was the one who was going to change it all, going to change it for the better. That was my take on it. And honestly, the reality was that healthcare didn't really fit my values and my ideas of what healthcare should be. And
Mm-hmm.
not always collapse them together. And I sometimes even wondered where the health in healthcare was, and
Okay.
especially for the healthcare workers, which I wanted to change. Like I was a person who went for two master's degrees while already working as a nurse full time because I really had like this big wish to be able to provide these changes. And I had this idealistic idea for almost 10 years basically. And in the end, I realized that this wasn't a one woman show thing to do. So I struggled with this internally a lot.
Mm.
And like this caveat became bigger and bigger the more I got promoted also. Like when I climbed up the ladder in the healthcare management, this struggle became bigger because in the last 10 years, well, I started as a psychiatric nurse,
Yeah.
but I also got promoted to team leader. I got promoted to being a head nurse. I also got promoted to become like more a coordinator function at management level. And yeah, because I expected to always give my best and my all, I basically got buried under my own idealism. So I like the idea of starting a business started almost 3 years ago, around that time. But at that time, I really didn't know what it would look like. The only thing I knew was that it needed to be something from my own values, like from my own standards also. And the most important thing is that I could help people in any way. What way? I didn't have a clue, but in any way to help people. And it became clear to me around a year ago. That was also when I got my burnout, like officially diagnosed burnout, that I wanted to do something with coaching, with veganism also, and something to do with meal prep. Because I realized that meal prep can be used as a true health intervention. And because I have my background in healthcare, I really thought that it was very important. So, yeah.
I love that you stick with your value, you stick with what was important for you. You
Mhm.
mentioned that you choose to become a nurse and go into healthcare because you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
What you realize that maybe it's not this way, it's not your way, how can you help? And then you were like, okay, but how can I still keep my value and find my way of doing this, to support people? And I
Yeah.
think, like, now that I work in this coaching field, and I work in neuroscience, and I work with professionals, also with healthcare professionals, uh, before I took, and they said, I wasn't aware, and I think a lot of people are not aware how big of a topic burnout is in the healthcare industry for the healthcare workers. Like, it's huge. Like, it's, when I realized it and when I started, I was so surprised, honestly, what they go through. So I fully understand what you were mentioning and saying, what that could feel like when you have this high hopes of going in and really supporting, helping, and then you are being, I think, guess, hold back doing it, and really like then, but then saying, okay, anyhow, I'm gonna make this work, I'm gonna find my way, and I'm gonna help people how I can. So I love that story, how you turned your difficulties into your power now.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, and we talked about that you experienced burnout, on yourself firsthand, and then you now work with food. So what role did food play in it? Like, maybe also before burnout, like training you
Mhm.
and helping you, kind of not helping you, but like moving you into more of burnout, and then afterwards when you realize how to turn that to advantage. So if you could share a little bit on that.
Yes. So, yes, I have experienced burnout. I got diagnosed 1 year ago. I am still in recovery, basically, because you never really recover from burnout. You just try to find ways to work with it. And well, I experienced burnout, and there are two main reasons that I feel comfortable sharing online. The first thing was that I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder like 2 years ago, like a year before my burnout, which is axial spondyloarthritis. And yeah, it's chronic. It cannot be cured or anything like that. So that was like a slap in the face. And the other reason was that, like, even though I didn't always see eye to eye with like the decisions on higher management in healthcare and just like the basic ideas of healthcare and how it is structured,
Mm-hmm.
I a big people pleaser and like a huge perfectionist in my career. And after my diagnosis, I kind of modeled being people pleaser and like this big perfectionist as my strength
Mm.
to like, yeah, to help myself in my rehabilitation, like for example getting on the treadmill at 11 p.m., which is like very extreme and crazy if I'm thinking about it right now. But it was because I didn't hit my step count that day, because I worked 9 to 5, sometimes even longer, like a desk job, didn't have the possibility to do a lot of walks. And I was like, okay, I have to get my steps in because this is like an important part of my rehabilitation. So I just,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I didn't allow myself to rest enough. So food in itself wasn't really the reason I had a burnout, but when I went through burnout, food was like my nightmare. It sounds extreme, but because I was so exhausted, I couldn't even go for walks anymore. Like I was like exhausted AF, and I just had to lie down in on my couch. basically, and let alone being able to cook. Like,
Right.
mind blown. And I know that there were signs before also that I was kind of gliding into a burnout, where I came home after work crying and like thinking about, what do I have to cook right now? Do I even want to cook? And those things. But after the worst of my burnout, like I was in the worst of my burnout like for 3 months, maybe something less or something. And those were like months that I didn't do anything, basically, just like resting. And after that, I slowly started doing like these micro actions, which I discussed with my psychologist also. Like, okay, what can I do to activate myself? And then we kind of made the agreement, like, okay, you choose one thing you really need to do, one thing that provides you something fun, and then one thing you can choose whatever you want. So like 3 things a day. And the thing that I chose to do as a like non-negotiable
Yeah.
was meal prepping. So I tried doing that because like that was the basic thing to do for my health, also for my chronic condition, but also for my burnout. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start meal prepping. And yeah, I started really, really easy. Like I made a batch of bolognese sauce, for example, and I just ate bolognese pasta for the whole week. Really that. And so, like to your question, how did it help rebuild myself basically while going through burnout? Is that I lowered my expectations on eating different meals every day. That was like the biggest thing to do, lowering my expectations. And I just focused on eating one healthy meal a day for the,
Perfect.
yeah, that's what I did. And like the structure also helped me a lot because yeah, I kind of lost that with going through burnout. I didn't have any structure anymore. Like waking up was difficult, brushing my teeth and all those things. But I had like this one thing each day that I did was like one day a week doing my meal prep, but I had my meals ready. And that was like, it gave me like more trust in myself again. And like also it made me feel valuable again. And yeah, it was because I had started to take care of myself again while going through a very dark period in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And because so maybe people don't know who didn't go through burnout, but it's exactly that's how I experienced it as well when I went through it. It's when you are in that very deep point, it's like you physically and mentally are not able to do anything. Like not even like even the simplest thing, like going to a shop and buying a bread, it's like what? How I'm gonna do that? It's like sounds impossible. Which now with a clear mind and not being in burnout, I'll be like, come on. But at that time, it's like the most difficult thing to do. And then also like I so agree with you with like food is not becoming like an important topic at that time, so you just eat whatever is in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't nourish your body, you also don't get energy from it. It's just plays, I agree, such a huge role. And then how you said it, that you went into and you choose meal prep as one of like the first habit that started your rehabilitation. It's so important, and I think you just did it so beautifully, because this is also what I teach to my clients. Is like choose one habit that you're implementing, which is not a difficult one, because you shouldn't set an unrealistic goal for yourself,
Yeah.
because then you're just going to lose all of your willingness to do it, and it's just going to be difficult, and you're just going to go back into burnout. So how you can build this up and choosing meal prep, starting nourishing yourself, your body, that actually then nourishes your mind. I think that's just amazing, because so many people and so many women think about, like, when we are in this busy period of our life, like, oh, food, I'm just gonna figure it out later. Oh, I'm just and I know we talked about this before. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna grab a sandwich, or I'm not gonna stand up from my desk, or I don't have time for this. And people end up skipping meals during the day, eat at 4 o'clock at the first time, or later. So it's so connected to overall how we are feeling and how we are being to stretch to things. So how do you this with your clients, that how are they handling food right now, where meal prep can come in as a support?
So the question was,
It's that, like, so many people, like, now don't pay attention to food,
yeah,
like that I will figure out meals later. So what do you think food becomes such a burden and feeling
yeah,
so overwhelmed in this whole process?
okay. Well, the first thing I want to acknowledge that it is not only about the food. Yeah. So it's also calculating the time when to cook.
Yes.
It is making sure you have all the ingredients. It is making sure you go to the grocery store. If you don't have all the ingredients, it's also just thinking about, okay, what am I going to make today? Like, that is like a very difficult question to ask. And also that, but also about thinking about cleaning after the meal.
Oh yeah.
So,
No one likes that, huh?
yeah. And like there goes a lot of thought and energy and like a lot of brain power into one single question, basically, like what do we eat for dinner? And imagine you have to do that at least 3 times a day, every day of the week, on top of all of the other decisions you have to make. And I think it's also why providers like Deliveroo and Takeaway and all those things, they work so well. Like, because it's a generational challenge, in my opinion. Like, we have grown up in a culture where everyone is like busier than ever, and the expectation to do it all leaves like little room for daily cooking and healthy eating. And yeah, I think that is like a big factor of the burden of it.
So true. And it is so true. I was just talking about this with my husband the other day, like, oh my God, okay, cooking again, how we can optimize this, because, like, our child is in daycare, she eats their cooked food, but we work, we don't have time to cook, and how we can how we can manage this. It is a burden, especially if you are, even if you are alone, but when you are having a family, it's like not even just
Yeah.
thinking about yourself, but about the others. What do they gonna eat? It's just like can get so overwhelming. So you say and you teach your clients that food can actually give us time and clarity back if we optimize it. So can you tell a little bit about this?
Yeah, sure can. So I think it's easiest to take myself as an example. Like, I cook 1 time a week on Sunday, and I prep to have meals for the whole week, like breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. So the whole package. Now, I'm not a quick cook, to be honest. Like, I have to spend at least like 1.5 to 2 hours a day before doing meal prep on one meal. And so if you look at it like this way, when I meal prep, I kind of carve time in to prep it in 2 to 3 hours. So basically, that is like my time frame that I want to have my meals done. But you can shorten it down like 1 hour a day or maybe longer. It kind of depends on what you want, how much time you have, and all those.
Mm-hmm.
But like usually for me, I have it prepped in 2 to 3 hours. So I have to cook 2 to 3 hours for a whole week. And basically, if you do the math, you notice that I kind of save at least 10 to 14 hours a week.
Right.
being able to cook one day for the whole week, basically. And like personally, I use the extra time to work on my business, but also my health, because there goes a lot of time in my rehabilitation. Like I have to do a lot of exercise, go to physio and all those things. So I use the time for doing more like creative things, like things
Mm-hmm.
that like feed my soul, basically. And the business that I'm building is feeding my soul and my energy. And like that is also the core of my Planties method, basically. Like it's not just about saving hours, it's about what those hours allow you to create, basically. And it can look different for anyone. So
I love that because yes, so true that it takes up so much space and time during the week, and maybe it feels like, oh my God, I have to spend half of my Sunday with cooking. But if you think what you gain on the other side, so what do you see with your clients? What kind of transformation do they go through when they start meal prepping? Because you just mentioned that it's not only saving time, but it can give them others. Like what kind of transformation do they go through?
well, I have a client, and she said like she felt the chaos around food disappear, basically, because there goes a lot of chaos around food and food decisions and all those things. And like we also always overcomplicate things. And she basically told me that she gained a lot of structure.
Okay.
um, like she didn't have snack cravings anymore. Like she was also able to focus more on her art, because she is an artist, business artist. So and like that is the thing, like when you decide that food can be simple, your brain basically stops getting into survival mode.
Mm.
And like you kind of stop spending hours each week on those tiny micro decisions that drain your energy. And you're not suddenly thinking all day about food, like all day, every day. And like she gained more time to think about ideas for her business, like working at the back end of her business, like her vision, going to the gym, those things. And she gained a lot of focus back, like more creativity, and yeah, basically the energy that was leaking into what's for dinner, she used that for other things. So yeah.
Great. So I love to hear this because when even when I think about meal prep, it feels like, oh, so that's even so much time, or that's so restrictive, or could be like strict, or other people could think, oh, it might be boring to do meal prepping. So when you are in your coaching and you help your clients to do this, how do you make it feel empowering instead of restrictive?
Okay. So I have an example of my client with this. So she was very rebellious against me in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, really. So I'm just going to explain what I told her. Like, a lot of people associate meal prep to a lot of rules, and like this idea of having to do things, like it touches their creative soul, or just their need to be creative in any way. And some people show their creativeness into cooking, they do that.
Hmm.
But this is what I told her, like there's also a deeper level on that part, and it's like a limiting belief. Like there's a deeper level on the limiting belief, and I truly believe that it is a limiting belief that meal prep is boring or strict or anything like
It
that.
is.
um and why do I think that? Because like I said, people may see themselves like as spontaneous beings, like flexible beings, and like they might believe that meal prep is boring, and that it basically is like the definition of giving up your identity of that creative being and like that spontaneous being, and that is just not it. Like, also, um, a lot of people have like this strong inner drive to decide for themselves what they want to do, basically. And they feel like with meal prepping, they don't have the ability anymore to just do what they want. But I just want to acknowledge that meal prepping doesn't mean you cannot choose what you want to eat for the whole week, basically.
Right.
Yeah, you can choose whatever you want. If you want to have one different meal every day, you can do that, but it might cost you more time to make it, might not. It depends on how you structure it. But like there are just many different ways to meal prep, and I don't tell them like, here's a plan, do what you want with it, like just follow it. That's not what I do. Like with my Plantis method, I teach people how to meal prep, but also how to make it fit their lives. And like I always say it like this, like I don't give them here's a plan that sucks all the creativity,
Yeah.
your soul, and to take away your freedom of choice. But it's like I look at it from who are they, what do they need, like what fits their life, are they single, do they have a family, do they have plenty of time or not a lot of time, what fits their personality, because it kind of has to fit your life too, and who you are. And in that aspect, meal prep is also a lot of identity work, which I also touch on in my coaching, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I fully agree. It's like, how do you look at it? Because it's not giving, it's not taking your choice away because
Mhm.
you are making the decision. This is what I'm going to eat the
Yeah.
whole week. It's not like exactly what you said, like, oh, I'm giving you a plan. This is what you have to eat. No, it's your decision. You just plan it ahead. And
Mhm.
it's a mindset shift how you look at it. And when I started meal prepping, it's when my daughter was born and we needed to start giving her food and not
Yeah.
just milk, and we started to plan ahead. And what I also realized is that yes, it saves time and it saves money because you
Yeah.
plan ahead, you know what you want to buy, and you're not just running to the grocery store. Oh, I miss I don't know, today I want to eat potato and I miss the potato. So it really can be such a big add-on
Yeah.
to your life. So for the women and men also who are listening and they are like professionals, exhausted, overworked, and they put food to the last on the importance list, what's one small shift they could make today that would already change their energy, maybe?
Yeah, I kind of touched on this a bit before, like what I did to start meal prepping, like just choose one meal that you love, that you like to eat, that is easy to make, and just start meal prepping it. And then you can grow from there. So that is like one simple step to do. And maybe the second thing that I can share is I have a Planties newsletter where I also share one vegan recipe each week with a lot of meal prep tips, a lot of like tips how to serve the things, how to storage it and all that. And I also like touch on aspects of identity and like some fun facts to know, and basically how to guide them to make it easier. So like that can be step 2 to subscribe to my Plantis newsletter. It is just available in my Instagram bio. So those, I think, are the two biggest advice that I could give, because truly the Plantis newsletter is a true gem.
Amazing. It's
Yeah.
yes, just like I think it was bolognese. and you eat that for the first week.
Yeah.
Choose one of your favorite meal that's easy to do, that's not takes
Mhm.
hours, and create 5 of it. And then just put it in containers and in the fridge. Love it. And yes, your newsletters. So where can they find you, people, if they want to contact you, want to learn more about meal prepping, signing up for your newsletter? So you mentioned they can find you here on Instagram. And I will tag you on this video so they can easily find you. But what are other ways or where they can find you?
Well, the easiest way to find me is just through my Instagram, basically. Yeah. So they can
Perfect.
DM me and I am happy to help them or to guide them. So,
Sounds great. Amazing. Kimberly, thank you so much for today and sharing all this so important information about food, how food affects you, how meal prep can help you every day to make you feel better, make you feel more energized and overall better, save your time, save your money. And I can also just highly recommend everyone to start meal prepping. And if you need any guidance in this, the best is sitting here in front of me to contact regarding how to start meal prepping and just start a different lifestyle. So thank you so much for joining and sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it.
yeah, you are so welcome. And also, thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah,
Yes,
so
thank you. And if anyone is interested, you can find Kimberly here on Instagram. So thank you, and I wish you a wonderful weekend.
have a nice weekend. Bye bye.